Hello, Lindsay Price here, and I am so excited to be talking to the playwright of the great play Storied by Bradley Walton. Bradley, hello.
Hello, Lindsay.
All right, so we are talking about Storied, which is about stories. And I think that that is a great place to start. I love the description of this play is where three teenagers, they find themselves in a magical world which is inhabited by characters from existing pieces, good ideas, and also bad ideas. There's sort of a war going on between good ideas and bad ideas, with the great question, who's to blame for the bad idea? Now, that to me sounds like an awesome starting point, but I want to ask you, I've got you right here. What was the starting point for Storied?
The starting point for Storied was really just giving myself something that I could work with, a general premise. And I'm really not sure where the idea of a world inhabited by different characters from all across the spectrum of literature and storytelling came from. But that was just that was the starting point. And I like that idea because it gave me a very broad sandbox to play in. I could pull this character from over here and another character from someplace else. And then I figured, so what if I want characters that are not in the public domain? What if I want something that's sort of recognizable? So I came up with the idea that that characters that were not in the public domain, that were still under copyright, existed in this world, but as generic versions of themselves, because copyright law is literally a form of magic in this world. And so, for example, something that did not actually make it into the play. I had a character who was going to be a drunken pirate with heavy eyeliner that was very much going to be a sort of Jack Sparrow type. And he was just going to be Pirate in Eyeliner, I think was the character's name. And I wound up just not cutting that at all because he didn't work the way that I wanted him to. And that character instead became the Ancient Mariner from Samuel Taylor Coleridge's poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. But that example is the type of thing that framework that I wanted to give myself to write. And so we were going to inject three modern teenagers into this world where their cell phones didn't work. And they had to go on this quest and accomplish a goal. And the original plan was that accomplish anything. So without the technology of their cell phones that they were so dependent on, without being able to Google anything, they didn't actually know how to do anything. And the point of the play was that the other characters who inhabited this world had to become more self-reliant to accomplish their own goals because the people from our world were so useless. I wound up not going in that direction at all. There got to be a point in the play where I had to kill off one of my main characters because she was dominating the play in a way that I did not want her to. And when that happened, the play took a massive tonal shift. And it became about stories and life and death and the role of stories in life and death and characters in a story living on after the story is over, and just all sorts of things came into play. And it all got really deep and kind of self-exploratory. And one of my regrets about this play, if this can actually count as a regret, I don't know. This is a weird thing to say. But I feel like this should have been the last play that I ever wrote because it comes across as the type of thing, I think, that a writer writes at the end of their career because it's encompassing and exploring all of these really heavy ideas about storytelling. I mean, I'm glad I didn't die as soon as I finished writing the play, but in a way, when I was done, it's like, okay, where do I go from here? And thankfully, I found other places to go after that. And I don't want to go sounding super heavy about, I don't want people thinking, oh, this play sounds like so much work. I mean, it's a big idea play, but it's also a fairly lighthearted play in a lot of respects. It's a fun play. It's a fairly weird play. There's a scene that's a tea party between Alice and the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland and Bigfoot and an alien. kind of weirdness juxtaposed with big ideas. And the big villain at the end of it is a giant talking commode. Giant talking commode in a scene about very big ideas. So there's this juxtaposition going on, and I think that the weirdness and in some ways the what the heck, why not nature of it keeps it from getting bogged down and too self-serious.
Bradley, you have explained everything that I wanted to talk about this play. And I just think that in a nutshell, that's exactly what Storied is about. It's about those big ideas, who's to blame for the bad ideas, a great question that's in there. The fact that it is, it's very weird, which of course I love the weirdness of it. And also the lightheartedness that is woven in between the notion of big ideas. There's lots to think about. There's lots to have fun with Storied, which I think it is kind of the career. It's the end of the career play, but that means that it's a real pinnacle type of play to take on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for talking to me, and you guys go get Storied.